got this little blind resume thing here. Hembo puts these together for us, and they're very good. So those are two players this season when they went head-to-head. And while the scoring is relatively comparable, you can't miss it. The guy on the left was just better than the guy on the right. Jalen, who do you think they are?
And the most important statistic is that the guy on the left has beaten the guy on the right 4 out of 5 times they faced off this year. That is Victor Oladipo, and this is LeBron James.
That's well done. It is correct. He is right. Oladipo has been terrific. And by the way, Jalen Rose, now for two.
What does he get if he gets the ball right?
Today, he wins a variety of sensational
I'm a
prizes
basketball lifer.
to be determined a little bit later. Now, we are talking about Oladipo and LeBron in part because last night and yesterday afternoon with the game of the Pacers, they never trailed. They went at 98-80, and it really almost never felt close. So LeBron is now down in a first-round series for the first time in his career. Despite that start, LeBron nothing but confident after the game.
I've always stayed even keel with the postseason. I'm down 0-1 in the first round. I was down 3-1 in the finals. So I'm the last guy to ask about how you're going to feel the next couple of days.
All right, so that's a reasonable way of putting it. It is just 1-0 in a first-round series that I suppose they're still expected to win. Did you see cause for significant concern yesterday?
No cause for concern, but each series you have to make certain adjustments. I think one thing the Cavs are going to do is start J.R. Smith in Game 2. He was pretty good off of the bench. On the defensive side of the basketball, we expect him to make shots. The Cleveland Cavaliers were playing against a team that seemed to be faster, Greeny.
Yeah.
That seemed to be more enthusiastic about being in the playoffs. A team that's hungry. When you play on a squad that only had one nationally televised basketball game all year, and now you get to this stage and you get a chance to play against LeBron James, you're going to be up for the challenge. And you saw multiple players for the Pacers find ways to have an impact on the game. Miles Turner had a big-time impact. Lance Stevenson played well. Bogdanovich had his moments. Sabonis had a big-time dunk. And obviously, Oladipo is virtually unstoppable, in particular in pick-and-roll situations. That's something the Cavs have to find a way to improve.
I mean, look, the Cavs didn't shoot the ball all that well. I don't imagine I wouldn't think they'd have another game like that. But I like that you said that they looked faster. I think a word that Jeff Van Gundy used yesterday during the game was swarming. Like defensively, they were taking the air out of the Cleveland Cavaliers because anytime any guy would turn around, there were 2 Pacers there seemingly, and they were just every single time down the court faster and more athletic looking.
And to Jalen's point, when Lisa asked Oladipo about that after the game, what did you guys do defensively? He said, that's what we do every game. The country's just not paying attention. Well, maybe this is the coming out party for this group of Pacers and in particular for Victor Oladipo. Now, LeBron James, to go back to the bigger picture with him, is expected to opt out of the final year of his deal and become a free agent this offseason. So our Dave McMenamin asked Kevin Love about that impending decision and how it might impact the Cavaliers. Take a listen to the response.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could, but only one person knows what he's thinking, and that's Bron. I think at the end of the day, we would love to have a long run, but that's going to, be up to not only him but all of us. It could affect it, but that's at least for me out of sight, out of mind right now.
All right, so, I mean, I'm one who always says, I don't believe in distractions. You got a job ahead of you right now. That's for later. These guys all deal with this all the time. Do you think it's having the pending potential of LeBron James' departure, do you believe it will have any impact on how far Cleveland goes in the playoffs this season, either of you?
I mean, maybe if it was the first time, but I think a LeBron team, this is sort of the norm now. And if it is still a distraction, then something's wrong with the mental because we're all used to it. I mean, this is sort of how he runs the business, which is fine. There was something yesterday. I think Chauncey Billups was really angry about this interview in particular because he thought, why are you saying these words now when all you should be thinking about is the playoffs?
Here's what has been highlighted for me with this year's Cleveland Cavaliers team. They're not a super team. They have some really good players, but they miss Kyrie Irving. People forget how effective he was playing alongside LeBron James. And LeBron would defer to Kyrie to the point where he was the clutch performer. I can't say they have a second best player right now that LeBron can defer to. You hope that becomes Kevin Love. He's a seasoned veteran. He did terrific on the boards. They don't feature him enough on the offensive side. But somebody has to be a shot maker for that team other than LeBron James, who, by the way, didn't make a shot outside of the restricted area.
Yeah, they couldn't shoot the ball at all yesterday as a team. And you know what would most concern me, and then we'll move on to other things, is that you talk about role players, which is what they have. They usually play better at home. And that game was at home yesterday, so I see some cause for concern. Now, Victor Oladipo, meantime, was sensational yesterday. And this whole thing might be his coming out party. He had 32 points,
bang, bang.
6 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals. You might recall last summer, the owner of the Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert, when there was talk about where Paul George would wind up and was it going to be Indiana, and then he winds up making the deal with OKC, and that's how Oladipo got there. Dan Gilbert, said Indiana could have done better than it did. Well, Victor Oladipo was listening. He hasn't forgotten.
Back in July, Dan Gilbert, the Cavs owner, said he didn't think the Pacers got enough in the Paul George deal. I just wondered, were you aware of that? Have you thought about it in recent days?
I'm aware of it.
Were you bothered by it?
No.
Did it fuel you at all?
No, I already have fuel. You can say he added fuel to the fire, I guess you can say, but that was so long ago. I mean, it came up recently, obviously, because we're playing the Cavs in the series, but I'm aware of what he said.
I
love the response. I love it.
So
and candidly, why the hell is the owner talking about that in the first place?
Yeah,
why
it's
is
not your
he
deal.
commenting on what another team got in a trade for other players?
Because he was salty about how it played out.
Yeah, he's been salty now at least
salty
twice
now.
publicly, and it bit him in the butt in a big way in the first time that people haven't forgotten about, and this one might do the same thing.
One of the best things that happened to Victor Oladipo is that he played with Russell Westbrook last season. They made it to the playoffs, and he was not able to perform. When you get a chance to witness greatness up close and personal, you realize, I thought I was working hard, but I'm really not going as hard as I can. And I can see the difference in his work ethic and how he's taking care of his body. He's in better shape. He has more confidence about his game. And now he's become a dominant performer.
By the way, not to defend Dan Gilbert by any means, but virtually every talking head in this business thought that the Paul George part of that deal was the better end. So he wasn't the only one, and I'm sure that's part of the fuel that Victor was talking about that he had.
Including me. I'm fully willing to acknowledge that I had that totally wrong, but that's my job. I'm a talking head.
Yeah, we're talking heads.
I don't own a basketball team, so I won't be talking about how other teams go about making their deals. All right, a little fun here. Meanwhile, on planet Earth,